Good morning and welcome to today's 20-minute update, BCF's monthly series of interactive calls and Facebook live stream that give you an inside look at BCF, our initiatives, and the issues we're thinking about that affect Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and the entire region. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andrew Waldman, Communications Officer here at BCF. I'll be your host today. And with me are Andrea Calderon, the Youth Sustainability Coordinator for BCF, and Mercedes Thompson, a Youth Environmental Intern with the Baltimore Office of Sustainability. Mercedes is a senior at Baltimore Polytechnic and the co-founder of Baltimore Beyond Plastic and a captain of the Baltimore Bio Crew. Good morning.
Good morning.
Before we get started, I just want to take a minute and thank the BCF Civic Leadership Fund donors for their support. It's because of you that we're able to provide resources like the 20-minute update. So thank you once again. Okay, today we're talking about youth leadership in the area of environmental sustainability here in Baltimore. And before I launch into that specific issue, Andrea, I just want to get you to clarify what your role is here at BCF and how you're connected to the Office of Sustainability in Baltimore City.
Sure, Andrew. Thanks for having us today. So I'm the Youth Sustainability Coordinator here at the Baltimore Community Foundation. However, I've been placed in the Baltimore Office of Sustainability for the last 3.5 years. So I'm part of BCF and I'm part of the BCF staff, but really don't make it into the building a lot, spend a lot of time over on Fayette Street in the Benton building. Over the last 3.5 years, I've been able to do 3 things as a part of my role. So I manage the Green Healthy Smart Challenge, which is a grant for student-led sustainability projects at schools throughout the city, and also help support and have developed the youth internship program, which is a new part of our programming over the last 3 years. And the third part of my role is a lot of other systems-wide work that I've done at the Office of Sustainability and in the Department of Planning, such as working as a part of the Equity Committee in the Planning Department, and also making sure that the youth voice is a part of a lot of the master plan processes and the sustainability plan update.
Great. I wonder if you might be able to give us a little bit more detail about how the Office of Sustainability's youth work has developed over the last few years and where that's gone.
Yeah, so all of this work actually started as a really great idea. Cheryl Kashani from the Baltimore Community Foundation decided that the best thing to do with money towards sustainability projects is hand it to the students and let them figure out what they want to do. And we have lots of students that are interested in sustainability projects of all sorts. So students are starting anything from schoolyard gardens at their schools to energy projects, to recycling programs, to outdoor classrooms, or growing tilapia all over the city. So really fascinating stuff. So she started that in about 2009, and the Green Healthy Smart Challenge launched then. We had 37 schools that first year, and since then, it's really been about 50 schools a year for the last 9 years. We've reached 72% of schools in the city since then, which has been really incredible to see. So at the time, I was in AmeriCorps Vista at Baltimore City Schools, and in cahoots with Michael Sarbanes, we actually launched the Baltimore Green Schools Network. Through that network, we were able to really pull together a lot of the sustainability partners around the city and divide them up into certain working groups. One of the working groups was the Student Environmental Leadership Action Team, and we assigned it to the Baltimore Office of Sustainability. So it's really great. At that point, the Office of Sustainability started inviting students to come to meetings once a month, as they did, and met with experts from the field and from within the city on a regular basis. So when I circled back to the role in about 2014, after working at schools for a few years, I actually decided to take a new turn with the work, and we decided to expand it so that students could actually take the lead on on all of the initiatives that they were interested in. We wanted to cultivate the critical mass that we were creating of interest in sustainability issues and what we were seeing on the ground. So at that point, we started paying students. We built the Youth Environmental Internship Program out of that. First year, it ran a little bit more like a fellowship, and then it turned into a really action-oriented, legislative-focused initiative, which was great. And that was all from student-directed interest. So they've really been able to make some incredible strides, which has been absolutely amazing and such an honor to see.
Yeah, Sadie, I wonder if you can just give us a little bit more background on that. You're one of the co-founders of Baltimore Beyond Plastic. Tell us a little bit about how that came to be and what you've been doing.
Sure. Claire's the other co-founder of Baltimore Beyond Plastic. We started off in Andrea's Youth Environmental Internship Program, and we heard about the statewide styrofoam ban, and we realized that youth are particularly passionate about the issue of styrofoam because at the time we ate off of styrofoam trays in our Baltimore City public schools. So we wanted to see this bill passed, and we knew that if we got the youth together, we could get it passed. So since our inception in December 2016, we've taken two main focuses in this work, educational outreach, so educating students about environmental issues, and lobbying, advocacy work. So right now we're working on a citywide and statewide styrofoam ban, and we've also been involved in some other work. Baltimore City Public Schools, as a result of our efforts, has now made the switch from styrofoam to compostable trays. So they've signed a contract, and we're hopefully going to be seeing compostable trays soon. So that's pretty exciting.
Wow. And we just want to mention that BCF did come down and see your rally at City Hall on February 6th. That was pretty awesome. How much of that did you all plan? Did you do the whole thing? I mean, can you tell me a little bit about how that came to be?
Sure. So it's Baltimore Beyond Plastic is completely youth run. Andrea acts as a fantastic mentor and support system for all of us at with Baltimore Beyond Plastic. But we are the ones that do the outreach, help figure out how we're going to transport the students down there. Reach out to the council members, invite them to speak at our rally, and we're the ones that interact with the teachers for the most part.
How do the council people react to your meetings? What is the takeaway for them?
They're extremely passionate about the fact that students are coming out and being civically engaged. They actually, on the front page of the Baltimore Senate after our rally, it said that Council President Young, he's been previously against the bill the last 3 times it was introduced. And because of the student voice and the students that are part of our movement and hearing from them, he's now in full support of the bill.
Wow, that's awesome. How did you and the other interns decide on the polystyrene ban? How did you develop that agenda?
Sure. So we heard about the statewide styrofoam ban, and since styrofoam is such a personal issue to students, and we see it so much in our community, I think Mr. Trashville statistics on their website say that 30% of all the trash they collect is from expended polystyrene. So it's definitely an issue that we see every day in our communities, and we knew that we wanted to get the bill passed.
Great. I'm just going to pause really quickly and ask anyone on the phone if they have a question to just hit *6 and ask it now. And I'll ask a couple times throughout the call. But if you have a question for either of our guests, you can hit *6 and ask it now. Okay. So, Andrea, why is youth advocacy such an effective tool? I mean, you and I could go out and become lobbyists. We could go to Annapolis. We could do all of this type of work. I mean, what is it about youth advocacy that is? Why do it?
Yeah, I mean, youth have an incredible ability to see right through everything to a very clear destination. They're not yet completely trapped in by the red tape or understanding all the bureaucracy, which is amazing. So their direction is spot on, and their clarity and approach to the work is really amazing. We've seen it all over the country, actually, everywhere from the Black Lives Matter movement, and we saw it a lot during the uprising here in Baltimore, and after the uprising, youth really organizing to make sure that things, things are being addressed that haven't been addressed for a really long time. And we see it today in Florida. Students are busing themselves to the Capitol to take a stand for gun control in a major way that a lot of the adults haven't been able to do. So they understand the issues, and I think that just by giving them the tools and understanding them, an understanding of the logistics, like helping them, make sure that all of their T's are dashed and their I's are dotted, and that everyone's included in the process. They're really able to accomplish all of the things that we really want to, that we've been really struggling to accomplish as adults. They have a really great way of showing up and connecting other students to the movement that makes the mass mobilization actually possible.
Is there anything that you've seen that's come out of this youth environmental intern program that has just completely surprised you?
Yeah, yeah. I remember when I was a young organizer in my senior year of high school and in college, I was really focused on sort of integrating it with arts and a lot more of a cultural approach. I was just so surprised at how directly the students went to policy changes and really actually super proud of their ability to pick that up. So going back to the question that you asked Sadie about why the styrofoam bill, as our team has gone out and really talked to other schools and listened to what issues they prioritize most, trash is the number one thing that comes up in all of our visits, in the surveying that we do in our grant program, and so we decided to pick that up. At the time, Claire Weiner and I were, Claire, the student, we were meeting with Brooke Lehrman to see what sort of environmental issues were on the docket for legislation. It seemed like the plastic bag bill wasn't going to be going anywhere for a couple of more years. And so she redirected her perspective on the styrofoam ban, which seemed to have really great viability because it had passed in Montgomery County and Prince George's already, and had already passed in DC. And so, we did a full year of action, and then this year actually launched into a citywide ban, which is the third iteration of that bill that's ever been introduced, and really the only time that I think it's had such intense teeth and viability as it does this year.
Wow. I just got a couple questions from online, and I'm just going to scroll up and read the first one to you. So, Sadie, you mentioned that you were also advocating on the state level. There was a question asking how likely is the state bill banning polystyrene to pass? That came from Facebook.
Sure. So, like Andrea mentioned, Montgomery County and Prince George's County have already passed this bill. And if Baltimore City also passes this bill, that means the three largest jurisdictions in Maryland will have already passed this styrofoam ban. So if Baltimore City were to take this next step, the state bill is looking pretty positive.
Wow. And you had a rally down in Annapolis for that, and you met with state legislators. What did they have to say about this ban?
Everybody seemed pretty positive about the styrofoam ban just because they recognize what an issue it is and how critical of a trash issue it is, because styrofoam is incredibly hard to recycle, if you can even call it recycling. And so they recognize that it's a huge environmental issue, and they recognize the student support behind the movement, which has been really inspiring to them.
Wow. We've got a couple more questions. Somebody asks, what else does the Office of Sustainability do? I guess that's a question for Andrea.
Yeah. So we do all sorts of things. We regulate forest delineation, so actually have ensure that a set amount of, when there are large development projects, certain areas of forests aren't cut out. We also do floodplain regulation. We work on climate and resiliency for throughout the city. We work on food policy and food equity and access. We have actually a brownfields project that has been launched over the last few months that has allowed us to really start to look at some of the brownfield sites around the city and see if we can and prep them for evaluation, which is going to be coming up in the next few months, to ensure that we're not having environmental toxicants or environmental health impacts from those brownfield sites. I think inherently through a lot of our work, we take up a lot of environmental justice issues because obviously, pollution in Baltimore City has a huge health impact. Really are, spread throughout a lot of different topic areas on environmental issues, and try to make sure that we have goals and plans set up to really guide us in the direction of a really sustainable 21st century city that is moving towards an equity and more equitable health outcomes, I would say, for everyone, and access to economy also.
Yeah, that was a question I was going to ask about equity. You said you worked on the equity sub-work group. I can't remember how you phrased that, but what does that mean and sort of what's happening there?
Yeah, so the Equity Committee has been meeting since March of 2015, and what it basically has done is it's allowed for us to have a staff-driven, directed process within the Department of Planning. We've gotten the green light from our director, Tom Stoser, to really take staff time to focus on that work. And so we've been coming together we've had rotating facilitation within our group, and we have participation from all of the divisions within the planning department, and put together a list of action plans and action items that we can take on that are sort of low-hanging fruit with regards to how the Department of Planning's how the planning process runs. So we look at investment processes, we look at the development review process, we're looking at the capital improvement program, and actually last summer, for the first time, I did a study and evaluation of the geographic distribution of capital improvement dollars. There have been a couple of articles that came out about that study. The study itself wasn't published since it was in its first year, but will definitely be published in this upcoming year. And it's allowed us to see if Baltimore City is actually allocating its funding for capital improvement equitably. The feedback that we got from the report and the analysis was that, unfortunately, no, we're still not. Which was really great. It actually gives us the data to back up something that we've known for quite some time. Given sort of the lack of investment we've had in a lot of neighborhoods historically, we're able to really develop some tools to incentivize development, either for small groceries to medium-sized groceries in those neighborhoods, to get rid of food deserts, or small mixed-use development projects, or even larger, affordable housing units that are interspersed with regular market housing units, so that we have actually a mixed zoning system in the city, as opposed to some of the inequity that's developed over the last hundreds of years.
Great.
Yeah.
Got one more question from I think Facebook, and this one is, this looks like it's for Sadie. What other environmental sustainability issues is Baltimore Beyond Plastic looking at, assuming the polystyrene ban passes?
So Claire and I, the other co-founder, like I mentioned earlier, we're both seniors, and with Andrea's youth internship program, we hired 5 new interns this year. And so Claire and I and the other seniors will be leaving, going off to college, but we have 2 juniors and a sophomore that are going to be taking on this work. And so if this expanded polystyrene ban passes, then there are a number of environmental issues we can look at. Like we were considering, when the statewide ban didn't pass last year, we were looking at like a plastic bag ban citywide, or like a plastic bag tax. So there are numerous environmental issues that Baltimore Beyond Plastic can tackle.
Wow. We're coming up on 1 minute, so I want to just give you both a chance to ask what can the public do to help your causes? Sadie, what can listeners and viewers out there do to help Baltimore Beyond Plastic achieve its agenda?
Sure. So we list all of our events on our website, which is www.bemorebeyondplastic.org. And we also have updates on our social media pages at BeMoreBeyondPlastic. for Instagram and Facebook, and Be Beyond Plastic for Twitter. And so we post all of our events there. So like spreading the word about our movement to any students that you might know, or any teachers, or any people that like work with students, community leaders would be fantastic.
Great. And what's happening in Office of Sustainability? Is there things that would plug, or what's going on?
Well, I think the most important thing, that we can do, so it's twofold, right? So in terms of supporting the movement, there's a lot of personal responsibility when it comes to one-time use items, and this bill really addresses one of those, which is carry-out containers that end up in the trash, and then 70% of our trash in the city gets incinerated, so it really ends up in our lungs. And so really moving away from one-time use items, taking a bag with you when you go grocery shopping, packing utensils for when you go to lunch, using reusable containers, et cetera, buying things that are not packaged in as much plastic or as much styrofoam as a lot of things come in. I mean, really addressing that, using your voice as a consumer to really shift that market is really important. Also, funding things and projects that really allow students to elevate their own voice. We've got a couple of students that have been in the program that were recipients of the Green Healthy Smart Challenge at their school, years and years ago, and so are now able to really use their voices in a well-versed manner to make things happen. At the Sustainability Office, we have some upcoming events that are really great, that would be amazing to have more of the public participate in. We've got our our town hall, which is happening the week of April 10th. So just save the date and look out for that exact date to be coming out soon. And then we also have the Green Network Plan, which is a plan that's launching right now, and looking for participation and sort of direction from communities throughout the city that a lot of Project Core money is going into for demolition projects. So there are a lot of other ways to tap in, and you can find all of those on our website at baltimoresustainability.org.
Great. We'll put a link to that with our 20-minute update video after this call is over. Great. Okay, we are past time actually now, and I want to just thank our Civic Leadership Fund donors again for their support in making calls like this possible. We're going to be back next month on March 16th at 9 a.m. for a conversation about education advocacy, so don't miss that. If you want to sign up to receive invites to these calls, go to bcf.org/enews. And as we go out today, we're going to play a video that BCF produced of the February 6th rally, which we talked a little bit about today. So if you're on Facebook, you can watch that video now. If you're on the conference call, unfortunately, you won't be able to hear that, but we encourage you to visit our Facebook page, which is Baltimore CF at Facebook, and you can see that video there. So thanks for tuning in today and watching the 20-minute update, and have a great day.
So what are we here to do today? I can't hear you. What are we here to do today?
So today we're here for a rally in support of the Judicial and Legislative Investigations Committee's hearing on a styrofoam ban in the city of Baltimore.
So polystyrene has a lot of negative chemicals inside of it, and here in Baltimore we incinerate over 70% of our trash, almost 80% of our trash, and when all of that stuff is burned, there's a lot of styrofoam in there, and the chemicals leach into like our air, like kids breathe that in.
Banning styrofoam is an easy, kind of no-brainer way of cleaning up that pollution.
Baltimore Beyond Plastic is a youth-led organization dedicated to reducing styrofoam and other trash in Baltimore City and in Maryland as a whole. And right now we're here rallying with over 200 plus students from around the city that we all gathered together, and we're here to support the bill to ban styrofoam in Baltimore City.
So Baltimore Community Foundation, in partnership with Constellation Energy and Baltimore City Public Schools, have made today completely possible. Their funding pays the interns a stipend that they earn throughout the year, so that they're able to develop organizing skills and advocacy skills in order to make events happen like the one that's going on today.
So the public could contact their legislators. They should really contact their representatives or their legislators, telling them why it's important for them that they vote to ban styrofoam in the city and in the state.